And I'm going to focus initially on this detail component right here, which represents the stair nosing and tread condition. And we're actually going to use an array to duplicate that down the length of the stairs, is to select the stair in the model. And this is one of the advantages of doing a hybrid detail. So we're going to select this item and then go to Edit Type, click OK. And now you should see the proportion of that element adjust to match the stair there. However, you'll notice that the place that I positioned it is not quite matching. So I'm going to take the front of this item and drag it back to there so that it matches where the nosings actually occur on the stairs. So let me just zoom out a little bit here. The array tool is a multiple copy tool. Keyboard shortcut is AR. And when you select that command, all of its options will be on the options bar. So there are two kinds of arrays. You can do a linear array or a radial array. A radial array would go around a curve. So naturally, in this case, we're going to leave it set to linear. So in this case, second is the appropriate choice because we know the size of one stair tread, and we're going to use that as the size for the array. Now, the easiest way to do that is directly on screen. So what you want to do is snap to some convenient location in the model, and then move and snap to the corresponding location on the next tread down. Now, if you moved horizontally or vertically, then you'd get a linear or vertical array, but I got a diagonal array because of the direction that I moved in. All of this only occurs in this view. To the original section at stair, notice that none of those detail components appear here. We're not seeing the arrayed stair treads. We're not seeing the elements we left floating over here. So I'm going to close that view and go back to our detail. When I select that element, Edit Group will be available here on the ribbon. We're going to click that. Now, the last time we edited a group, we were using a model group. This is a detail group, but it works the same way. So now what I want to do is use this Add tool right here to add an element to the group. And I'm going to add in our angle element right there. And then I'm going to click the Modify tool to get out of Add mode. Now, this item is part of the group, but it's in the wrong position. So I will simply move it from its midpoint right there to the midpoint along the bottom of our stair element. I'll click Finish, and when you do, it will add that to each of the arrayed elements. And so that's one of the advantages of using an array here, is that you get that group functionality and you're able to repeat those elements easily in that fashion. Now, this item I'm just simply going to move to a more favorable location, and using the temporary dimension here, I'll set that to a distance of maybe 2 inches in imperial and 50 millimeters in metric. So that completes our arrayed stair treads. In the next video, we'll add the final finishing touches to the geometry of this detail in the form of masking and filled regions. In this video, we're going to add some filled and masking regions. Now, both of these share in common the property that they are custom shapes that you draw from a sketch that will cover up the model geometry underneath. We've actually got examples of both of them already here in the file. The brake line family that we created earlier has a built-in masking region, and you can see when I select it that the geometry is kind of showing through it. So that mask is covering up part of that geometry to give us the desired visual effect. And the stair nosing detail element here has a built-in filled region for the concrete pan there, and you can see that it's got the little stipple pattern and so forth. So the only real difference between a filled region and a masking region is whether or not it has a hatch pattern. So I'm going to go to annotate, and you've got this region tool here, and you can do either a filled or masking region. So I'm going to start with masking region. That puts me in sketch mode, and you can just start drawing, but I think it'll be easier to use the pick lines and just sort of use the underlying model geometry and basically trace over it. So I want to use an appropriate line style. So it's already set to thin lines. I think that's going to be fine for this example. And I'm going to touch this edge, this one, and this one. Now, those go off screen there. So what I'm going to do is just switch to the line tool and just draw a vertical line past the break line here. Click the modify tool to cancel, and then I'm going to do trim and extend to a corner and clean that up. So it is like other sketches that needs a closed shape before you can continue. So I've got that now, and I can click the finish edit mode button here, and that creates the shape. And notice that it is being cropped by the view. So that extra bit off to the bottom there was just to finish the sketch. But when we're done, it will look something like this. But you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't look so good. Well, the next concept that I want to talk about is stacking order. So when you have these detail components in a view, you get to determine which one sits on top of the others. So the easiest thing to do is just select one of the elements, and then you've got the arrange buttons here, and you can either bring them to front or send them to back. So in this case, I want to take this masking element and send it all the way to the back. That's going to put it at the bottom of the pile, and notice that all of the other detail components will jump forward now relative to it. And when I deselect it, it looks like that. When we consider our stair pan array here, it was created after the break lines. So that break line is underneath the stair pan. You can use a similar tool here to bring that break line to the front. And now that looks a lot better, right? Because now that break line is covering that extraneous piece of the array. Okay, so using your send to back and move to front buttons, you can shuffle these things around to make for a more convincing graphical appearance there. Okay, so next I want to focus on the landing itself. And what we're going to do here is use a filled region. And I want to make a filled region that kind of looks like this stair pan to represent the landing geometry. So I'm going to go back to the region, drop down, choose a filled region. And then once again, we can choose the pick lines tool to be able to trace some of the existing geometry. But since we're going to be cutting through this element, rather than thin lines, I want to use something a little bit bolder. Now, I think wide lines might be a little too thick for this example, so I'm going to start with medium lines and see what that gives me here. And I'm going to pick this top edge, this one here. I'm going to use the top of the piece of steel right there. And then I'm going to zoom in near the steel pan. And in addition to the standard line types, the dash lines, the heavy lines, the thin lines, you also have an invisible lines. So when it touches this existing detail element, I don't want a bold line there. So I'm actually going to use invisible lines to grab that shape, and then you got to zoom in nice and close and get this little vertical line right there too. Okay, because remember, you have to have an enclosed sketch. So now I'm going to do trim and extend the corner and trim this item back to that little vertical line, and trim this diagonal line to this one, and then finally this one to the one over here running vertically, and close it up there as well. And when we click finish, that will complete the shape. And it's assigning it to a crosshatch initially, but you can just simply select it and choose a more appropriate fill pattern from the list here. However, you'll notice I don't have a concrete one, so let's just make one. So we'll click Edit Type. We will duplicate. I'll call it concrete. We'll click OK. And then just change the fill pattern here to concrete. And you can even just search for it. There it is right there. And I'll choose OK, OK again. And now that has the correct fill pattern. So we can fix that in some cases with the line work tool. So I'm going to go to modify, choose line work or LW, and pick a line style. So thin lines, I believe, is going to match what we already have here. And then I'll zoom in nice and close so you can see this take shape. You should be able to click right on that rail and then just simply fill those areas in where there are gaps. Now you could also do it across the bottom right here. You can see there's some gaps there. So it's a nice way to kind of clean up areas where the geometry is not rendering perfectly on its own. So we can just do a couple of those. And down here as well. And I think that looks a whole lot better. Okay. Now, staying with the line work tool, sometimes folks like to show the treads and risers of the opposing run of stairs dashed in behind the stringer. Now, I can't see those edges right now in order to do that, so I'm going to cancel out of the command. I'm going to temporarily change this view to wireframe. And you may recall that wireframe just shows all the geometry right through and nothing is hidden. Now, let's zoom in nice and close here on these tread conditions. Let's go back to the line work tool and let's change this to a dashed line, or a hidden line. There's a hidden line type right here. And then I'm just going to start touching some of these edges. Now this one goes a little too long, so you can stretch it back. Remember, we did this in an earlier video, so this is hopefully review for you. But I will just go ahead and continue this. And then when we're done, we can cancel the command. And then to see the final result, you just change this back to hidden line. And it should look something like that. Now, if you missed one, like I did right there, you can simply go back to the line work tool, touch the same line again. That will redisplay the little grip, and then you can adjust it and fix that. So real easy to fix if you miss one. And I think that looks a lot nicer. Now you can use dimensions in this view just like you can in any view. So if you want to indicate the size of items, like maybe the offset of the stringer off the nosing, you can do that. And then of course you can add notes